we're trying to make these videos, and every time we try to make the video, it cuts off, all right? So we're going to try it again. But basically, I'm at my station. You know, there's some people that come into the internet and they're nosy at another station, and they try to surf your things and try to interfere and try to break into your... Those are illegal things, all right? So that's what we're going to ask everybody for their ID, all right? When they come into the internet, it's going to be really, really, really stringent. Because people aren't supposed to be doing things to other people. And we're for a society with no more criminals left and no more bad things. And that's what's going to be, because of God, our beloved God has got to be intended, all right? So those bad people that you heard at the internet attacking me, those three men, including a woman too, she does things too, gets smart. The whole entire time I'm there for 3 hours, they're arresting me about my husband. They don't know my husband to say those things. They don't know me. They're just arresting for the bad people trying to do things to us. We know that they're the people that tried to kill us and take our things and arrest and try to kill us for all the bad people. I remember those three men. They were helping in Pastor's trials and bullshitting everybody, and Coleman Powder tried to hurt us and take our things. They were trying to kill me and my beloved husband's feet, or so family, or people, citizens, people trying to take our things. This is it. And that man actually gave me a threat that he'd kill me right in the open and nobody would do anything. It was a threat to kill me on the internet. And they would see me on camera die on screen. Right? They had threatened to make a stuff of my beloved husband, Sharif, and they threatened to make a stuff of me. So I just said, we want to tell you that. So now, okay, that woman, one that's easily almost 80 in her late 70s, that stole my things at the airport along the rest of it. You know, there weren't any Jewish people working that day in the area where they were taking my things. They took them off my body, and they were being arrested for what they had done, all right? And so even the judge, so people were getting ready for high holy days. Because we're getting ready for holy days, you know, for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Nobody had been there. Everyone's trying to go get ready at home. And so basically I said, everybody was all criminals. And a woman was one here. She tried to tear off my dress as a little girl. She was old. She put her feet on my dress. She tried to tear them off, and she was pulled aside by the police. She was old. And so we know that she was doing things here, basically, so to speak. So they tried to steal my things, and they weren't from Israel. And we told you the people that were attacking weren't Jews and weren't from Israel. And they actually had to do with Hitler. All right, because when our people put Adolf Eichmann to death, we were being attacked by the Americans, bad Americans, and the Nazis because of Hitler losing. And basically, what happened was the Americans, the bad Americans, relocated Hitler's family. All right, and gave them new identities. That's what happened. That's how Kate got to England. She was Hitler's daughter. And basically, Colin Powell was Hitler's grandson, and he's Angela Merkel's brother. All right, they have the same mother by two different fathers, and that's Hitler's sister. All right, so we told you all that in writing. All right, so basically, we just want to tell you those things. Okay, and we told you about the woman she killed our guard later on. Because we know that she had something to do with that, because she gave the death threat. She stabbed him. Remember we told you about our guard, M15? He was Queen Elizabeth's nephew, and he was our personal guard. He was my personal guard. M15, Her Majesty's Secret Service. And her mother, they suspected that her and Pastor Charles killed her own mother. And so she's like, and this is the old woman that's talking. Everyone knows that she was old. Older than what she was saying. You know, we hear you're good at catching criminals. Who's we? And well, we just heard all that. Maybe you can come to my house and help me to figure out what happened to my mother. When I get inside, and Pastor Charles slams the door. They start attacking me. They get a butcher knife. They cut me, actually. They push me in the closet. They're licking the blood from their fingers from my cut. My guard came over because, you know, I'm a little girl. He comes, he knocks on the door, they pull him inside. And he asked me, was I bleeding? They pulled me out of the closet because they had put me in there trying to threaten me. I started making noise. And then he came. I wish I hadn't done that, but at least he survived the injury. But he was hurt, and I wanted him to help me. And he saw me bleeding, and he told him he was going to bleed too, and they stabbed him in his chest with a butcher knife. And who knew the butcher knife that big? And they had threatened to eat us, and never threatened to eat us, so they're licking the blood from their fingers. And to make a long story short, they refused to call the paramedics or the police, and they said, we think you're criminals, we'll just kill you. And then until later, they had planned to try to kill me and say that I had done something to her mother, and perhaps blame our guard too. And to make a long story short, it was really awful. They refused to call anybody, and he said, all right, it seems to me you have enough crimes underneath your belt, Perhaps you'll try to call and they refused. We had a field phone. We called ourselves. And of course, it was having problems, and it said, that's already the tracking system, and eventually we got through, and when the crooked police came, Bormany police, they tried to pull that big butcher knife out of his chest. He said, no, the police here are crooked, there's some crooked police. Do you know when a person's wounded, even if you're not the police or first aid, and minor first aid, you don't try to help an injured person, especially like that. A big old butcher knife was in him, you had to ride to the hospital, and you had to get x-rays. It was attached to something, the policeman was reprimanded, and actually they thought that he tried to kill our guy, who was the nephew of Elizabeth. But they made another death threat. He was well, and she said, well, that her and the prostitute would just dissolve his behind. He drank that tea and ate that pasta in that poison container that made tea, and when he was taken to the hospital, his butt was left behind. It dissolved in his bed. So we know that they had to do with that. Pastor Charles pretended to be king of all of our things, and he was in all of our family things, and those women tried to hurt us and tried to take our things along with Pastor Charles. They were his harlots, and they're still harlots trying to do things. Okay, now we'll talk to you in a few minutes.